Good morning YouTube, and welcome to my channel's inaugural episode. My name is Smurgle, and I am here to learn how to play Smite, starting from a basic level and progressing through the ranks of League 1v1 Jousting. Now it's always fun to watch the Masters Leagues and seeing the professionals wreck each other, but I'm finding that learning about things while watching them is providing diminishing returns. My favorite channel right now is TydeTyme, whose link I will put into the description below. He's an awesome mentor for me, even if he doesn't know it. I like his ideas, his builds. He's entertaining to watch. Go check him out if you haven't done so already. Again, links in the description below. So why am I, as a bronze jouster, making this channel if there are masters out there who we could all be watching instead? I came to the conclusion that if I was going to get any better, I should start recording my own jousts so that I could go back and see where and when I went wrong when I lose. I've always held fast to the philosophy that we learn more from our mistakes than we do from our successes. That being said, since I am recording these, I thought it might be a good idea to post these up on YouTube for two reasons. The first reason, which is kind of practical I guess, is if you guys have any suggestions of things I could do better when I lose, or heaven forbid when I win, please post your ideas in the comments section below, and my hope is that we can work out the problems together. Questions arise while I'm playing sometimes that I have trouble figuring out. This means that as I play and I'm recording these things and these questions come up, they will be recorded and hopefully someone will be able to answer them. The second reason for posting this up on YouTube is that we see many masters posting their tutorials after they reach their master's status, which is perfectly fine because no one would probably listen to the advice of a bronze jouster, but they've reached their ascension goal. They made it to the Masters League. I thought it would be cool to start up a channel of a lowly level 1 RPG character who starts off his adventure in his or her bedroom, and then we follow them through their story as they arrive at and defeat the final boss. This is that story. I'm starting off in the Bronze League, don't know that much about how the world works, but my goal is that together we can experience this adventure and everyone can become better at this game in the process. So I recently went through the qualifiers and was placed in Bronze 5, so starting off at rock bottom. I've done a few of the jousts, won a couple of matches, I want to say won 20 or 30 or so, and I've worked my way up to Bronze 3 when I realized that I probably should start recording these so I can figure out what I'm doing better. So this is going to be starting from that point on, in the Bronze 3, middle of the Bronze 3 League I think, and from here on out we can have fun with this adventure. So a quick little explanation of who I am and some of my background. I've been playing Smite for a little over 1,000 hours now, recorded. I've mastered, quote unquote, all the gods. And had a lot of fun with them. My favorite so far has been Aphrodite and Arachne. Aphrodite I think is my favorite. She's my main. Have her at about 3,500 worshippers. And Arachne, she is just also fun to play. Have her about 3,000. I've been doing I started off doing purely arena, just figuring out how everything worked, and then I went into Conquest and absolutely loved Conquest. And that is where I got most of my worshippers from here from. Athena is my main support. Neith was my main ADC in Conquest just because she had, when I was going through this back in the beta and pre-season 1, Neith had one of the best escapes in the game, and so I felt really safe playing her, so I played her a lot when I was ADC. And then Ymir was a fun jungler, so I jungled him a lot. Kook was awesome mid, although I played him a long time ago, back when he was still all Kwang, so I got him to Diamond before he had his name changed. And I'm currently working on Chang'E, Freya, and Bastet and Chronos. They're fun to play in Conquest as well. Now, for the 1v1 jousting, I think we're going... Okay, it's going to need... We're going to need to start off with a few gods, I believe, that we're going to be working through the 1v1 jousting. I'm seeing a lot of the masters playing multiple gods. TydeTyme is awesome, in which he takes requests from users in the comment section and goes out and plays the god with the requirements that have been set, which is really cool. Good on him. But for this, I'm going to just take a few gods, maybe 3 or 4, and focus on them to get through to mastering them. I'm taking the philosophy from Bruce Lee, stating that it is better to learn one kick or practice one kick 1,000 times than it is to practice 1,000 kicks one time. So I'm going to take 3 or 4 gods and practice them 1,000 times versus taking all the gods and practicing them, 10 or 100 times. So that's what this episode is about. We are going to be selecting some gods that we think will be good for Joust. I'm going to be going through my thoughts on each of the categories real quick, and then post in the comment section below if you guys agree, disagree, any additional thoughts you might have, or corrections to my thinking, which is, of course, bronze level. So there's vast amounts of room for improvement here. So for starting class assassins, I am not too fond, I think, of melee class characters in 1v1 Joust. I much prefer the range of an ADC or my favorite class, the mage. But I don't know, we'll just have to go through and see which ones are being played and which ones outperform the others. So Arachne, unfortunately, many people have told me, and I have been tending to agree with recently, that she falls off late game. She has a great start, strong mid, but then falls off late game. And I very much prefer to play a late game. If a game doesn't last for 15 minutes or so, or at least 15 minutes, I feel kind of cheated, and just the whole 10-minute F6 doesn't really satiate my like for playing this game, the fun I have for playing this game. But so we're gonna move on to possibly Bakasura, Bastet. They both have good tower clear with their ults. I like playing Bastet more than I like Bakasura, but I think Bastet, unfortunately, like Arachne, falls off late game. Her cats don't really do that much damage anymore, especially for playing like an ADC. Then the cats just feed health back to the ADC, which counters what I'm trying to do. Bakasura also has minions with his ult, and his ult does scale to the end game, so we may have to stick with him. Mercury I like playing, and then also Serqet. I love the burst potential with Serqet. So, like, all the gods are good, obviously, but I think of them, my 2 favorites are going to be playing either Mercury or Serqet. Probably Serqet, just because I love her mobility and her instantaneous burst damage. Although Mercury also does have a lot of mobility too. So, but those are my 2 thoughts there. Let me know what you guys think on that. Warrior, I'm not too particularly fond of playing warriors. They perform awesomely. I just don't have that much fun playing with them. If I was going to play one of them, I'd probably play either probably Bellona or Tyr. Tyr's kind of fun. I like his parrot skin a lot. That may not be the best decision choice for playing a god or choosing a god to master, but I like his parrot skin. Vamana is a good god. I hear 1v1. So is Odin, Hercules. But I think, just for fun's sake, I'd either go with Bellona or with probably Tyr. Guardian, I'm not even going to attempt a Guardian. They don't really do that well in 1v1 Joust. Hades does, I guess. He performs more like a mage. But him and Chang'E, I just have this deep loathing for. When I'm playing against them in Conquest, I always have like a personal mission to try and take them down, because they are so hard to, for me anyway, at the Bronze League, to counteract. They're just really strong pushes, and so I probably won't be playing either him or Hades out of principle. So that's Guardians. Mages. So of these mages, like we saw in the Worshipper section, I've been working on Chang'E, Chronos, and Freya recently. Aphrodite, I would love to continue playing her, just like I would Arachne. She doesn't fall off necessarily so much late game as Arachne does, but she doesn't really have that good of an escape, and her kiss loses half of its potential, and her passive is pretty much useless in a 1v1 scenario. So I would love to keep with Aphrodite. Love playing her. I love her birds, but I don't know if she's going to work 1v1. So we're going to stick probably with Chronos and Freya, although I hear they get banned a lot in the Masters Leagues, not so much in the Bronze League. Hubbo has amazing poke potential, so I may try and learn him, or I may do Chang'E, because I hear Hebo, or Hubbo, I keep calling him Hebo, Hubbo, keeps getting banned in the Masters Leagues. If I can get there, I wouldn't be able to play him much, so I may end up sticking with Chang'E. Isis, I like her play ability a lot, too. She has a nice kit. Oh, they all have nice kits. Janus has a good kit, Poseidon has a good kit, Ra, Vulcan, staying away from him. But I think of these guys, I'm going to stick with Chang'E, Chronos, and Freya as my 3 main mages. So I'll probably take Chronos, Freya, and then if they get banned, then I'll pick Chang'E. Unless I'm going to go for an ADC. Now for the ADCs, I have a lot of fun with Cobb. I love his honey. That's just fun to use, along with the placement of his hives. Reminds me a lot of the Zerg in StarCraft. So he's fun to play for me. Apollo, he is played really good by others, not necessarily so much by me. So maybe that's just a practice thing that I gotta do. It's possible. I like Ram. Is it Ram or Rama? I have to Google that. I always thought it was Rama, but Tyde calls him Ram, so I'm going to stick with that. So Ram, I like playing him. He has a good steroid, just like Artemis, but he also has an escape, and then he has a very long reach. Ur is also another possibility. He is more ability-based than Ram or Cobb, but I see a lot of potential in his kit. He has a jump plus a long-range stun, which means chasing down my opponents will be easier. Not to mention his third ability, Hail of Arrows, has a very far reach. He also has a bit of a steroid on his basic attacks like Artemis and Ram, so yeah. Neith is also ability-based. I hear Hu Yi is really good. He has that ricochet ability that Tyde says can do a lot of damage if you can do a triple hit in the jungle of 1v1. But honestly, I think I'm going to stick with Cobb, just because I like playing him a lot. He doesn't have mobility, that is his biggest weakness, but that I think is mostly capitalized in Conquest with the ganks from the jungler or from mid lane. So I think positioning is going to be a little bit easier in a 1v1 joust, and if I can stay positioned properly, then I shouldn't necessarily need as much mobility. I just got to be careful of jumps and dashes. So maybe I'll just have to take an active for mobility like sprint or blink, although Tyde doesn't necessarily think that blink is very good for 1v1 joust. I think I may have to take something like that if I'm going to pick a god who doesn't have an escape. Or maybe he'll work well in bronze and silver, and then I'll start getting completely decimated in gold and above. So if that happens, I may just have to swap to another god. Let me know what you guys think, though. Post a comment below. We can discuss earlier. So I think that's good enough for now. This is our initial greeting, introduction, and god selection. So quick recap: Assassin, probably Serqet, excuse me. Probably Serqet for an Assassin, or Mercury. Warrior, Bellona, if I have to. Tyr, if I have to. Don't particularly like warriors. Guardians, not going to touch. Mages, probably going to stick with these 3 here. And then for the Hunter, probably going to go Cobb. Okay, so I think that about wraps it up. Oh, one quick question I foresee someone asking me about is my gamer name. So yes, my usual gamer name is Smurgle, but that was unfortunately already taken even during the beta year. So I had to choose one of my alternate gamer names, which is why my YouTube name is Smurgle Streamdancer, just to try and clear up any confusion that might come about. It'll probably fail miserably, but at least I tried. I don't have any Smurf accounts. I don't really understand the concept behind having a Smurf account. I guess if you wanted to try some randomness in 1v1 Joust without it affecting your ranking score, I could understand that. Or maybe playing with a friend who's a low level and not wanting to affect the overall ELO of the match. But I would much rather have all my worshippers, my achievements, and log time in one account. Although, but then again, that's just me personally. Thus, my normal game name is Smurgle, but I am playing on my alternate game name Streamdancer, so I hope that clears it up. But yeah, thank you all for your likes, your comments, your help. Let's have fun while we do this, and because I feel it's important to always have good sportsmanship, I wish you all a good day and a good game.